As Washington downplays the fallout, is Iran's drone war quietly exposing just how much hidden damage has been done across US bases from Kuwait to Bahrain and beyond? If at least 228 US assets were hit, are Iran's strikes now shaking Trump's Gulf-based network in ways that spreadsheets and brief Pentagon statements have barely begun to admit? When hangars, THAAD radars, and fuel depots all end up on the target list, did Iran salvos just rip through the backbone of America's Gulf hubs rather than merely scratching a few outer walls? And if small, low-cost drones can punch holes in what was sold as an invincible Gulf shield, what does that really say about the next round of US-Iran confrontation? Iran's campaign against US bases has left a largely hidden trail of wrecked assets scattered across the Middle East, far beyond the handful of images that made it into public view. One detailed report claims Iranian missiles and drones hit at least 228 individual US assets spread across about 15 bases in the wider Gulf region. Satellite imagery reviewed by a major US newspaper shows scorched structures, broken shelters, and damaged equipment, suggesting a far broader pattern than early statements implied. The list of targets ranges from parked aircraft and concrete hangars to radar arrays, barracks, fuel depots, and even parts of air defense systems that were supposed to guard those same bases. Those strikes forced US commanders to shuffle large numbers of personnel, relocating units, and rehousing troops to reduce the risk of mass casualties at any single hub. Earlier reporting by CNN suggested Iran had hit at least 16 installations, with officials privately conceding that several high-value American targets were damaged or disrupted. Even so, defense analysts stressed that Washington's overall capacity to strike Iran remained largely intact, arguing that redundancy and dispersal kept core offensive power in place. In Bahrain alone, at least 3 bases reportedly came under Iranian fire, including a key US Navy hub that anchors American maritime presence in the Gulf. One US official is quoted describing extensive damage at that Navy base, language that suggests more than minor cosmetic hits to outlying facilities. The blow was severe enough that, according to the report, the headquarters function was temporarily shifted back to CENTCOM in Florida to ensure continuity of command. Further north in Kuwait, at least 3 bases were struck, including the site that serves as the US Army's regional headquarters for operations across much of the theater. In one of the deadliest single incidents, an Iranian F-5 strike on a Kuwaiti base in March reportedly killed 6 US soldiers, underscoring the human cost behind the satellite photos. In Jordan, equipment and radar components from a THAAD missile defense battery were also damaged, raising uncomfortable questions about how well shielded these high-end systems really are. Major hubs like Al Udeid in Qatar and Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia were likewise targeted, showing that Iran tried to touch almost every major spoke in the US Gulf network at least once. Analysts quoted in the report say Washington was simply not prepared for the scale and sophistication of Iran's drone attacks on fixed bases. The drones are described as smaller and less spectacular than cruise missiles, but harder to intercept than many planners had expected before the war. Each hit may carry less explosive power, yet the systems are reported as more accurate and more survivable against layered defenses, making them ideal for picking off specific assets. That combination forced the rapid dispersal of personnel and aircraft, even if the overall US ability to hit back against Iran stayed intact on paper. Small, precise drones now threaten high-value assets that once felt safely tucked away behind the front lines, rewriting old assumptions about what it means to be out of range in the Gulf.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.